So, welcome to the first or pilot episode of Piccolodeon, a semi-regular podcast that we'll be doing from now on when we get 5 minutes to talk about Dragon Ball Z, and everything sort of in and around the series and any topics that might come up in between. So, there's going to be two of us hosting this potential shit show, and I am Phil. I'm pretty much a podcaster, food blogger, etc. Not much really of interest to say there, apart from I've done a few podcasts before, and with me is co-host Ethan Waller. So if you'll do a better job of introducing yourself than I will, mate.
Sound. Hi, I'm Ethan. I'm a professional rugby player by day, absolute Dragon Ball nauses by night. I've also no stranger to the podcast world, food enthusiast and food podcaster, amongst a few other strings to the bow, but been a massive, massive Dragon Ball nauses since I was about 5 or 6 years old. And I think this is the perfect opportunity for myself and Phil to share that love with the world and just have a semi-regular nauses off.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's weird, mate, because this is the strange accumulation, or culmination rather, of a very strange year last year, where sort of whenever it was that we first spoke, I was like kind of really nervous because, again, being a rugby nose as well, I was like, oh man, this is really weird. I want to talk to one of the Worcester players about food. And then we did a podcast about pizza, and nearly a year on, we're meeting up online to talk about cartoons. So
weird. You wouldn't have been able to write that.
No, it is strange, but I'm all for it. Like you say, I've been into. I mean, let's start there actually. So, what was your first access? I'm assuming it was probably Cartoon Network, Toonami, same as me.
Yeah, 100% Cartoon Network. I must have literally started watching Dragon Ball Z when it first started airing. Had no prior knowledge of like Dragon Ball or anything. Started watching Dragon Ball Z when it first started airing with the Saiyan Saga, and just like instantly fell in love with it. I was dead into like Pokemon and all that kind of stuff anyway. So I was already sort of in the anime universe. And from then on, it just became a borderline obsession. But no one else in my school knew about it or liked it. So it was sort of like I was just on my bill. And then I think once the whole Z series finished, I must have been, because it's a long ass series, must have fast forward about 4 or 5 years maybe. And then they started showing Dragon Ball out of the blue, and it just confused the fuck out of me, because I had no idea what there was anything like predating Z.
Yeah.
And of course then there was the absolute clusterfuck that was Dragon Ball GT, which we don't need to discuss.
No. I've got to admit, when that was on, I was buzzing for it, because I mean, to sort of give you mine, it's exactly the same story. I remember evenings where you got my mom and my granddad waiting for the soaps to come on. I was waiting for Dragon Ball Z to come on. Like, that was my daily routine. I was like, right, let's see where they're at now. Let's see how far they are towards Namek now. Did you know what I mean? That was my soap opera when I was that old. And I collected the cards. Everyone was collecting Pokemon cards. I was collecting the Dragon Ball Z cards, which I think are still in the loft at my mom's house. I've literally, I was so balls deep into the series. It was just like, again, like I say, it was my religion back then. It was just everything about Dragon Ball Z was the best. And when GT came on, at the time I was buzzing for it, because it was just more content. I mean, it's how we are now, isn't it? Just more. It's like, I don't care if that one film was good, give me 10 of those films. I need to consume it. And that is, I discovered the films quite late on. I didn't even know they were a thing.
I didn't realise that until I was well out of school. I didn't realise there were films about.
Exactly. And there was stuff. Well, the UK, which if people are listening from the UK intro was primarily built of clips from the films.
Yes, it was. I didn't even think about that.
So I was waiting for stuff going, well, that's never been in the series. And then when I started watching the films, it's like, oh, fuck, that's...
There it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, though, because I also didn't realise. It took me... So I just discovered the films were about anyway. And then it took me even longer to then clock the fact that they weren't canon. Yeah. So they were all a what if, essentially, bar the most recent one, bar Dragon Ball Super Broly. Like, they were all a what if, which is...
But were they?
Which still trips me out.
Some of them were like, Super Android 13 and all that kind of stuff, which were quite good actually.
They made them good.
I like BoJack. I know that gets a bit of stick, but like it was another opportunity to see Teen Gohan do some shit.
And he was by far my favourite character of the entire series.
Okay, I mean that was going to be my next question. Mine's always going to be Vegeta, always.
Nah, mate, like just that period, and then to an extent when it was Ultimate, and then he just became Dragon Ball Super. They just went, nah, fuck this guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll fully shaft him.
And they did, and I'm sure we can do. I mean, to be fair, that's probably a really good option for future episodes, like character breakdowns and stuff.
Yeah,
but
the films. I'm pretty sure they're all what ifs. I'm trying to think of one that wouldn't have been, but
Garlic Jr.
I suppose.
Even though they cut it out in Kai and stuff like that, that ended up being part of the series. So
yeah,
it was a bit of a filler saga, which I really enjoyed, by the way, because it took Goku out of the equation. And it was just something a bit different.
Then you look at things like the cooler films.
Oh yeah, true.
All of them. I mean, BoJack to an extent, is it a what if kind of because Trunks is still around? You look at, I'm trying to think of what other ones there were. So you got Super Android 13, which is just bowling around in the Cell Saga. Well, just before the Cell Saga, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Lord Slug. There's kind of that proto Super Saiyan thing, where it's kind of like
the false Super Saiyan. Like, there's loads of them.
Yeah.
And I think that most of them are just they're what ifs, aren't they?
The weirdest one that I really didn't enjoy was the I can't remember which one it was called now. It was the one with Hirudegar.
Yes, the one with the fucking Piccolo. I mean that as in the instrument, not the person.
Yeah.
And Trunks getting the sword and stuff, and then they never revisit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. That I'll give you that.
I like that character who's connected to Hirudegar. He kind of looked a little bit like a ginger Supreme Kai, but
yeah.
I don't know. The film just didn't do anything for me. So
it's a bit of a non-starter, wasn't it? Really.
But equally, at the age I saw it, I was like, just give me more. I'll watch it.
To be fair, have you ever watched the Team 4-Star stuff on YouTube?
I think so. Is that
It's the spoof stuff. It's basically where they've dubbed over it the entire Dragon Ball series. I think. Is it the entire series? They might not have done the Boo saga, but they definitely went up to the end of the Cell saga.
Okay.
And it is fucking funny.
Really?
To cut off, mate, yeah, it's just funny.
Okay, I'm going to write that down and I'm going to have a look at that later.
Team 4-Star started from the very beginning. Make sure you find on their official website and stuff and go through it. It's just, it's good crap.
Okay, I'm on that. So we've sort of touched on entry into Dragon Ball, and we've talked about the films, the animated films. We're gonna have to touch on the main subject of the podcast, which is, can a live action film work? And I think it's probably a good one to start on because it's not going too deep into the episodes. It's a good little bit of debate potentially. Did you watch Dragon Ball Evolution?
Yeah, it was a fucking car crash. Start to finish, it was fucking awful.
Full disclosure, I didn't get through it.
No, yeah, well, I did, but I wish I hadn't. It just did nothing for me whatsoever. It was awful. The casting was horrific. The special effects were considerably worse. Like what they did to Piccolo is a travesty, frankly. Bulma's nothing like what she is in the series. I mean, yeah, the Yamcha character was to an extent, but I mean that's not a hard thing to replicate. The Roshi wasn't even an old man, and you've got Goku who's just this fucking weird. He's going to like a high school and shit. Like what?
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at the stuff around it though, they lost their heads about it. The creators were the directors and stuff were literally like, nah, never seen an episode of it in my life.
It's a little bit like when Joel Schumacher did Batman. As he was directing people on the set, he was going, guys, don't forget this is a cartoon, ham it up. And, they put nipples on the bat suit and stuff. And you're just like, it's a car crash. So I didn't get all the way through it. My brother bought it on DVD because my brother was quite into Dragon Ball as well. Probably not to the level that I was, but my younger brother was keen on it as well. and he bought the DVD. I remember because it was a case of you go shopping with your mom and you beg the odd DVD. You're like, come on, please treat me. And it was marked down. It'd only been out about 3 months on DVD, and it was already marked down to like £5. And he bought it home. I'd watch it like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I was like, fuck this. Like,
it was a horrendous big hit.
It really was. It felt a little bit like they tried to bring like the Spider-Man kind of elements to it. Like he's at school, he's dealing with and he's just like, look, it doesn't need to be that.
He was never that. That's not what Goku's character is. He's pretty much oblivious to the whole world, bar a very small circle of people.
Yeah. And they're oblivious. Yeah, exactly. And they're oblivious to him as well. The whole world is oblivious to him.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, is probably the biggest flaw in the whole series, because like when we go into the Cell Saga, for example, and everyone can't understand why people are flying, and yet Capsule Corp is in the middle of the city and they're flying in and out.
Finding that, yeah. There are plot holes. There are definitely plot holes, but you buy into that shit because the rest of it's fucking grand.
100%. My suspension of disbelief. This is the funny thing. My suspension of disbelief is fine when I'm watching a big purple man put on a magic glove full of magic stones. But then when it's a case of a small scene in a Dragon Ball Z movie apparent then there's some kind of weird breakdancing scene where it turns into a fight, I'm like, that's not happening. That can't happen. Yeah. It's like the Carl Pilkington. Bullshit. And I'm out.
Bullshit.
Yeah. So there's 3 main sections that we probably need to cover off to see if this could actually work. One is the narrative. That's always going to be difficult. And this is, I'll save my actual opinion for a little bit later because it's probably controversial. But what narrative would you take into a film? And sort of how would you do it to make it work?
So to an extent with this, right? Because I was thinking something similar. I mean, take this sentence for what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I was comparing this in my head to the Sonic movie, which came out, and there's so much scope because, like, again, Megan and I also used to read all the Sonic comics. I played all the games, all that kind of shit. There's so many. It's nowhere near the same level of fandom as Dragon Ball or the same sort of storylines that repeat. But to an extent, there's so much to cover. Where do you start? Where do you go for it? Like, there was so much they could have put in that first Sonic movie, and they just sort of used it as a base to start. And it was actually, in fairness, it was quite a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Not seen it yet.
No, but it is quite, like, it's worth watching. Jim Carrey's fucking funny in it. And if you like the series, it's quite a good big kit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. With Dragon Ball, you'd almost have to go down the Marvel route, I reckon, with like a DCU, because there's no way you are fitting that much info, that much development of characters, that much backstory into 2 hours of film. Do you know what I mean? There's so many. I mean, you look at every single variety of Super Saiyan now, or even like the Super Namek, the Ultimate Gohan, the arrival of gods, and you remember when Supreme Kai came around, everyone was like, fucking hell, next minute he's shithouse compared to Beerus, next minute Beerus is shithouse compared to Whis, next minute Whis is shithouse compared to the Grand Prix, next minute he's shit compared to the Omni King, and you're like, well, fuck, there's a lot of things to come in here when at the start of this series, the guy from Namek was the scariest thing around. So, where do you start? I suppose you have to start to an extent. The earliest point, the latest point at which you can start is probably the start of Z, because you could condense Dragon Ball into an intro section, I guess, if you were trying hard. But ideally, you'd probably start at the start of Z, have a brief intro, then you got a scope to do sort of like prequel films, almost like they did with Wonder Woman in DC.
Yeah.
Go back to it if you need to lay that foundation. Then you've got to have a series of films where you're going through. You can have a series of films that concentrates on, Gohan and Krillin when they're in Namek, or just sort of things of that nature. But it's a hard one to try and put into live action, because there's so much you got to cover. So if you're going to do it, you've got to commit to be able to do fucking loads of them.
Now, you've kind of it's funny because you've kind of gone towards what I was going to say, but I'm going to say straight off the bat that I don't think standalone movies can work. Okay. No, I think the best example, by the way, the other thing that we need to cover off before we go any further, because there's always going to be budget questions. I don't know whether you knew this, and anyone listening, I don't know whether you know this, but Disney now own the rights to the film distribution for Dragonball because it was part of Fox when they bought it.
Fucking hell. Of course they do. Of course they fucking do.
So in theory, we've got Disney money to play with in this kind of imaginary space.
Fucking do right. Let's do it.
So the best example I can give you, and I know we're both fans of this series as well, the best example I can give you of how to adapt something like this is the Witcher series.
Yes.
Assume the people watching it. Assume people watching it already know, and the ones that don't, fucking catch up on your own time. And then it'll just become this massive thing. I mean, there's a reason that CD Projekt Red became one of the most valuable game properties, or developers rather, on the planet after that series came out. It's because people are like, shit, I need to learn about this. And they went and bought the game. That will bring more people to the original series anyway.
It will. Might be able to stream it legally in fucking UK at some point.
Exactly.
In that case.
Exactly. And then, which is a complete pain in the arse to the point where we've had to start buying the Blu-rays now they're coming back out. But it makes sense to have it as, for me, an 8-part serialized event series. Dragon Ball can be part of every episode as the kind of epilogue to that episode where Grandpa Gohan is teaching Goku a lesson that then comes to fruition to the in the episode.
Yes, that's a far better idea than mine.
No, it's the thing is though, I've been thinking about it all week since we said we were going to do it. In fact, probably the last month or so since we said we were potentially going to do this. And the setup is all in Dragon Ball world, and then the rest of the episode is in Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
And in terms of the way that I'd work, so you've got essentially a more Dragon Ball heavy episode to start, set everything up. Then that ends at the beginning of the Saiyan saga. Each episode is about an hour and a half long, because again, this is Netflix world, so or Disney Plus probably. Then you've got a full episode on the Saiyan saga, a 2-parter, Namek Frieza, a 2-parter, Android Cell, and then Boo and Broly to finish.
Nice. I like that.
And the reason I've set that up is because that lends very well into my casting, which I'll take you through in a bit. Because there's some people I've cast just because, like, I was thinking about it, like, how do we do the Saiyan saga? But then I thought, why stop at the Saiyan saga when you can structure it as an hour and a half each? They all lead into each other. And look at that. Because if you look at The Mandalorian and how that's been set out, I just think that it gave me the feeling of those kind of Saturday kind of TV shows that used to be on back in the day that you'd sit and watch with like parents or granddad with a bit of cheese on toast, and there was A-Team and Airwolf and shit like that. And it was like, right, what's the next adventure? Right, what's the next adventure? And I think you could really easily tap into that with Dragon Ball and a load of Disney money.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm thinking longer though. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. So are you saying like try and fit the whole of the saga into a series?
Potentially. I mean, either way, really.
I think you'd be able to. I reckon you'd go a series of saga, probably. Probably even like because you think the Android saga was actually split. Yeah, so you go because I don't think you. I think you run the risk then of condensing it too much.
Potentially.
If you're going from, I mean, you think about how, compared to the Saiyan saga, you think how long the Namek saga was compared to that. And then you think how short the Android saga was really in comparison to when the Cell saga started. Yeah, I mean, you could probably, I mean, the Androids and Cell, you could probably hybrid into a series, in fairness. But I'm thinking the Saiyan saga, there's so much narrative there. You've got the introduction of the Saiyans, you've got Raditz, then you've got Goku going down Snake Way, going to train with King Kai, you've got Piccolo and Gohan training, you've got, the rest of the Z Fighters training, as well as everyone coming along, and then you've got the fights with the Cybermen, the Nappa, everyone dying. Like, I think you trying to condense that into a couple of episodes is going to be fucking hard.
Which is why a film doesn't work.
No, 100%. I don't think a film does work. I agree with you. I completely agree with you on that. I think a film wouldn't work unless you're going down unless you're willing to throw some fucking cash at it and do it in the sort of an MCU style where you focus on one saga per film, like they do essentially with all the comic book stuff these days.
Well, if you think about, do you know what? Let's run with that idea then, because if you think about the way they do it, they're doing it in phases, aren't they? So each phase could be a saga. So so you'd have to have origin movies if we're going to do it like that. So you've got a Goku origin movie, you've got a Vegeta origin movie, which would then probably encapsulate Nappa
Nappa and Piccolo naturally fall into those, as does Gohan, because he'd pop up at the end of the Goku origin movie, you'd assume.
Yeah, you'd think so. So who else do we need to cover there? So that's probably it. So you probably do 2 build-up movies just to kind of go, look, this is setting the scene for these two coming together in a third movie. You don't necessarily have to have 10 movies before you get to the big one, because then that leads into the Saiyan saga, which then leads into the big bad, which is going to be Frieza. So
you could maybe do like you could almost take a leave out the Star Wars book as well. Do you know what I mean? You could have one that's not a main character, but you set it up so you literally have a Goku origin, a Vegeta origin, and then maybe like a Saiyan origin, or just one that sets up this of a very minor character but sets up the world of it. So like a Roshi versus the Crane School.
Yeah, or as well, actually, because we're talking Disney money, a Bardock / Frieza origin film.
Yeah, but then I think you release that at the start after the Saiyan saga.
Yeah,
before the Namek stuff starts, so then everyone's like, this guy.
Yeah, and I think that would probably be one of those films where when you announced it, people were like, I suppose I'll watch it. But then it'd end up potentially being like a Guardian situation where people go, that is actually the best one. And I'd quite like to see a bit more about Frieza's actual motivation, because
he's an horrible bastard.
Yeah, like, I understand there's the whole Emperor thing, but I'd like to see, what they were like as, like...
him and Cooler as kids with King Cold about.
Yeah, and like what their home planet's like, because I want to see more of that backstory, because I like Frieza. Frieza's probably one of my favorite enemies that they have.
He's turned into more of a anti-hero is the wrong word, but he's definitely, to me at the moment, just from the way it's all finished, from the end of the Tournament of Power leading into Broly, more of an anti-hero as opposed to a full villain. I think that table's turned a bit, because if you think about Broly, the fucker just wants to get a few inches taller. Do you know what I mean? He brings old boy there to get him the wish, but he's never actually come there with the intention to blow up the earth and that. And then when Gogeta stops him, every opportunity to kill him, call him dead there, and he's got every chance to fight him, but they just let him fuck off. So
true.
Has that dynamic changed for him now? That's a question for another episode.
Yeah, again, a good one for a Frieza breakdown. Question, in the original Japanese dub, doesn't he actually say, I want to be 7 inches taller to be, because of my brother? So he makes Cooler canon in a sentence.
Does he? I don't know. I know he doesn't in the English. He just says he wants to be bigger.
Yeah, because
I've not seen the Japanese one.
I watched it again. In fact, on New Year's Day, I watched all the Dragon Ball Super movies again, because why not? So I'm sure in the Japanese dub he said something about his brother, which would be interesting, because if they were to bring Dragon Ball Super back or take it up a level and then bring Cooler into it, I'd be quite open for that. But
right, so we want. I reckon the Netflix style's probably the way to go about it. The Witcher style's probably the best way.
Yeah,
because you can get more out of it. I think you reach a bigger audience as well. Naturally, especially with the moment when no cinemas open and stuff, I think you reach naturally a bigger audience, and people can dive into it here and there when they want, which will then lead into bigger things.
Yeah, and I quite like the Sodja, you do your own homework and come back to it when you understand it, because it's going to generate more fans.
And there's still opportunities for origin stories and stuff like that in different series, because you just look at the Defenders, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could do like a whole prequel series about like a Saiyan squadron of characters that you don't even know. Do you know what I mean? The opportunities are just endless. Yeah.
Right. So Netflix, we're Netflix ticked.
Okay. So special effects. I think that is probably one of the biggest challenges, because making Super Saiyan hair and things like that look decent is going to be difficult. I mean, we're probably going to come back to Marvel quite a lot here because I do think the way they did Captain Marvel, I was like, shit, Dragon Ball can work.
Yeah, mate, I did. I thought they did that very well.
Mm.
The thing, but it's a question as well. Like, how do you get like Goku's iconic hair? How do you get that?
You don't.
That's the thing. You can't do it. You've got to get something that's vaguely similar, but you're never going to get.
I don't think you even do that. I think you have to almost forget the hair, and I know that's really difficult.
I don't think you can, mate. I don't think you can. Even if it's something, even if it's just like, it doesn't need to be the same, but just like a general, just the way the hair flows, like some over there, some over here, like just something. Yeah. You've got to have something. The same with Vegeta's just got to be straight up. You probably end up getting more of a GT Vegeta lid.
Yeah, like short and kind of like just. The problem is, right? Are you? I mean, I know you like country and stuff. Do you know like your new metal bands? Were you ever into that kind of stuff?
Not massively, but try me.
The problem is, if you go too far on the Vegeta side, he ends up looking like the lead singer of Static X.
Yeah, don't know.
And
you tried me.
I did, and I will try and pull it up in a minute because the thing is, it's like it's all well and good, but I just think that's where my suspension of disbelief. That's where the kind of line is.
Obviously, there's going to be some shit you can't replicate, but you've got to have a nod to it.
Yeah,
it's like the Marvel stuff. They can't replicate everything, but there's always a nod to something in it. Going, we know this is there. We don't want to look like dickheads.
Yeah, because it's got to look, even though it's literally about people firing energy out of their hands and flying, there's got to be some part of it where you go. And this is the weird thing. We're getting hung up on the hair when it's about people flying, but it is going to be that bit that takes you out of it if you get it wrong.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, it's got to have some sort of nod to it without a shadow of a doubt.
Because you know what's going to happen if we get it wrong. I'm saying this like we're actually making it. If we get it wrong, he's going to be like Sonic, where everyone's like, right, change the eyes. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a difficult one. That's probably the only bit I haven't got a full-on answer to.
No, I don't think you can do that. I think you've just got to nod to it, but you can't go full Booner with it.
No. Okay, we'll take that. And in terms of, I think we've probably answered it there. Just saying, you've almost got to look at it as instead of like the massive sort of corona aura, it's got to be like a kind of glow.
A glow
with the the lightning, electricity, easy peasy. You can do that.
It's easy. I mean, Captain Marvel is a perfect example of how it should be done.
Yeah.
With that, like, there's no easy way of doing it. I mean, even to the point at which the beams she shoots out of her hands are pretty similar to what you get. You just got to obviously get the build up to it right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you take the rest of that film away and just watch the bit where she kind of shoots down from the sky into Thanos' ship, you could be forgiven for going, shit, that's Goku going through Frieza's ship, or it could be anything. It could be anything. So
there's a lot of potential to it. Like, and if we're fucking with Disney money, we've got it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have the same team. We'll have the same team cover the old special effects. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else in terms of the SFX? I mean, we're going to have to do an Uzaru transformation at some point.
Yeah, but I don't think that'll be difficult. You look at, again, we're fucking Disney money. You look at the transformation, Bruce Banner to Hulk.
Yeah, but there's a question.
Same thing, more or less, isn't it?
There is a question. Do you replicate the gorilla that is sort of the model for the cartoon, or do you go ultra realistic large gorilla, like say, have you seen Rampage?
Yeah, no, I don't think you go down the Rampage route. You go down because it's not like an actual, because it's not like an actual gorilla. So yeah, it's got a tail and stuff, and it's furry as fuck. But
you have the big snout.
Have a snout. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think you've got to stick to that's one area you can be accurate to the show.
Because it's so fake, it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
yeah.
It can,
Okay, all right.
Make the fur realistic, you fucking laughing.
Okay, Piccolo, is that CGI, like Vision, or is that practical makeup, like,
Vision's practical makeup, mate.
I
watched a thing on it.
Really?
Yeah, mate. Paul Bettany sits in makeup for fucking hours. Like,
I thought
that's
that
genuinely
was
real.
I thought it was a bit of both.
So everyone in Marvel, all their suits and stuff, CGI. I'm a Nauses, mate. I'm a big Marvel Nauses as well.
Yeah, same.
But Paul Bettany gets makeup every time. Like I dread to think how WandaVision, like that must have been a ball ache for the lad.
Well, you say that, but I've seen the trailer. He's in like jumpers and shit, so they've only had to put his head.
True, and to an extent, you could do the same thing with Piccolo.
That's very true,
especially if he's in his gown a lot.
That's very, very true. And I've got to say, I've outdone myself with the casting there. I think, by the way, I think you're going to be.
I'll be intrigued as to who because I've got someone for him as well.
Okay.
I haven't got a full cast list. I've only got a few that I think would be good.
That's fine. I did. So by all means, if you go, oh, actually, thing is, do you know what? Paul Bettany would make a good Piccolo.
You would, in fairness to him.
You know, so he's already got the experience in the makeup trailer. He could probably just crack on. So yeah, I think I'm trying to think. Is there anything else you're going to need a particular larger? Oh, there's going to be some mocap because Frieza's got to be mocap.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Same with Cell, Corin. If you bring Corin in.
I think you could get away with Cell.
Do you reckon?
Because at least he's a human shape. Do you know what I mean? And although he's going to have a weird lid, his face is a human shape. Whereas Frieza doesn't have a. Does Frieza have a nose? I don't think.
No. Yeah.
No. Does he? I know Krillin doesn't have a nose, but you probably, for the sake of the series, you'd give him a nose.
Yeah, well, casting wise, I've cast that one that was in EastEnders that her nose fell off. Do you remember her?
Yes. Carnage.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I think you're good.
Okay, sound. I mean, there's little characters like Poir and Corin, but that's easily done. That's just 100% CGI and yeah. So the next one then is cast.
Right. Go on, fucking open up your PowerPoint. Let's have a look.
Screen share.
I'll jump in with ones I've got, and if I have any inspiration on the way, because I genuinely don't know who I'd cast for Goku, and he's the title character, and I don't know who I'd cast for him.
Ooh, okay.
I'm presuming we're talking Saiyan Saga for this, yeah.
So I'm doing it. I'm basically casting that series that I've put in.
Yeah.
So I do go all the way up to Broly. So it'd be interesting to kind of see your thoughts on it. So if you share screen. Right, look, it's got a title slide and everything. All right, here we go. All right, can you see that?
Yes, fucking happy with that. Let's go.
Okay, now, obviously I've started with Goku. I think it's going to make the parallel to The Witcher again, but I do like Henry Cavill. And
I think he's good. But the thing is, the only thing I doubt about him is, does he have the playfulness for it?
I think yes. And the reason I think yes is because he's a very good actor that would dedicate himself to it, similar to how he has to Geralt. He would be playing the games. He would be watching the show. He would be reading the manga to get a feel for it. I've tried to go down the playful route. And the problem is, you go down that and you end up at people like Chris Pratt. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, ugh. I
actually don't think Chris Pratt would be bad.
No, because he's got a build for it.
He's got a build for it, and he's quite, and he would be quite. He'd be able to play the stupidness of it well, but then when he needs to get it, like that Guardians of the Galaxy, the second one where he's got to get his shit together, he's good at it. But he'd also be able to, I don't know. You got to have someone who's able to play someone oblivious as well. There needs to be that innocence with it.
Yeah, I think it helps with Henry Cavill, as I've seen him fly. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, he'd be used to the kind of, I don't know, whether he's young enough is a question. Whether he's young enough is a question. But again, the suspension of disbelief thing again, we're making people fly and shoot stuff out their hands. Like, for me, it's kind of, age isn't really a limit.
Yeah, fair.
Per se.
In fairness, I've got no one else better. So
the other one I thought, and this is again, bear with me on this, and I didn't put him down, was Andrew Garfield. If you think about the way that I know he's not big enough is the problem, but if you thought about the way
he'd get fucking jacked, like
he would. But if you think about the way that he did play Peter Parker, he had got that kind of. He could definitely do the aloof, I'm not sure what's going on kind of thing. But
I can definitely see him as an adult Gohan.
Now that's a shout. I can
definitely see him as like going around the Orange Star High. He's going to see Supreme Kai, the Saiyan Man.
Mate, that has just blown me out of the water because that is brilliant. That is genuinely class.
And ironically, sticking with the Spider-Verse, my team Gohan was going to be Tom Holland.
And mine.
Yeah, good. We're on the same page.
Yeah, 100%. So next slide. I mean, so would we say 50-50 on Cavill?
Yeah, I'm going Cavill or Pratt, I reckon. I think Pratt would also give it a good go.
I agree. Like I say, I've actually got him. I don't know if you can see. I've actually got him written down on my original list, but I've scribbled him out.
He's a close second. Second.
Yeah.
Go on then. Hit me with. I'm assuming the next one's Vegeta.
It is, and I've got two options for it for very different reasons. Now, I'm currently rewatching Black Sails, and Zach McGowan is Vegeta. But also, Chris Pine would have a pretty good go at it.
See, interesting. This is one of the ones I've put down. I didn't go for either of them. Okay,
what did you go for Vegeta?
I went Hugh Jackman. He's a bit older, but he's also got that. He's good, when you look at Logan, he's good at being a miserable fucker.
Yeah,
and he is jacked.
Okay. My biggest problem with Hugh Jackman is the same.
He is old though.
It's not that. The same problem I had with him as Wolverine, and I loved him as Wolverine to a point. But and I was a big Marvel fan. I've got because I used to rollerblade, but I haven't got any of the blades anymore. But I have got the boxes because all the boxes are full of comics, and they're in that cupboard over there. And I reckon I've got about 5 or 6 rollerblade boxes full of comics, and I'd say about half of those have got Wolverine in it. So I was really close to that character. He was too fucking tall.
Yeah, there is that,
and it bothered me. And Vegeta has always been
shorter than Goku. Yeah, that's a point.
So I was trying to think of next to Henry Cavill, who he's going to look smaller, but still got that kind of intimidating look. And if you look at how Zach McGowan, just look at his body language there. Like,
I'm leaning more towards McGowan than I am Chris Pine. Or who's the old? Who's the old boy that plays a Punisher? What's his fucking name?
Thomas Jane.
Yeah, is that it? The guy who's in he was in Walking Dead as well.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I know his name as well. John.
Fuck, I can't remember his name.
Bernthal. John Bernthal.
Yeah, him as well. He was also on my list.
Do you know what? He's a very good shout. He's a very good shout.
Good actor, and he's again another very angry bloke. I think Chris Pine's he's played the good guy too many times. I don't think he'd have the edge you need for it.
The chops.
Zach McGowan, I think, would, but I don't think Chris Pine would.
Okay, well, I'm quite happy to roll with either Zach McGowan or John Bernthal, depending on who wants the least money.
Nice, like that. Budget, mate. We've got a budget to think about. Smart. Yeah, who's next?
Next one is Napa, Dave Bautista.
Oh, of course, easy.
Tick.
Not even fighting that.
No. Next one is. See, I can't see the next slide. Right, Piccolo. Mahershala Ali.
Okay, fucking hell, that's actually a good shout. That's different from what I was going for.
He's intense. He's got, because again, I'm assuming you've watched Luke Cage. He was
awesome. Fucking unbelievable in it.
Mate, he was the best part.
That's a very good shout, mate. Yeah, I think that's better than mine. That's definitely better than mine.
What was yours?
I went Jason Statham.
I'm not laughing because it's bad. I'm laughing because of the contrast.
Yeah, it's completely different. But I think, that's right, mate. He's way better.
He's a very good actor, and I just think when you compare him to the last casting of Piccolo, I think we're going the levels to this game.
I was just thinking, who's bold and angry? Jason Statham. So
on Piccolo.
I
love it.
Go on. Yeah, Tom Holland again. Tom Holland, straight tick. Fine, absolutely fine with that. Obviously, you get away with him from probably the Namek saga onwards, and you find a good child actor for the Saiyan saga, I think.
Yeah, I didn't cast the child one because I was just like, insert child actor here. Who cares?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, as long as they can do a reasonable job, that's all you need.
Exactly. And the thing is, what we've done as well is we've put Tom Holland in as teen Gohan, and we've cast Andrew Garfield as adult Gohan. So
yeah,
two Spider-Men.
If there's ever a pensioner Gohan, we'll shove in Tobey Maguire. Got the full hog.
Yeah, I like it.
Right, okay, who's next?
One. Now, bear with me on this. bear with me on this. I think Kevin Hart could make a good Krillin, and I know there's going to be people going, "Oh, you can't." I don't care. We're in a situation now where we're casting fake people to play more fake people. Yeah. I think in terms of mannerisms and believability that he could eventually shag Android 18, I'm going with Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, I'd agree.
And he's jacked as well. He's got a decent rig on him.
I agree with that, and he's short enough.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking about, actual stature. There's not that many sort of actors, especially... Because I don't know, I even tried to go down like the Japanese route and tried to... I don't know enough about those actors to put them in.
No, I don't.
Kevin Hart.
This is very westernized Dragon Ball because I don't know any Japanese actors.
No, well, exactly. So if anyone accuses me of sort of going down that route, that's because I don't know enough Chinese or Japanese actors.
Yeah. Mark Strong for TN, love that.
Yeah. I love Mark Strong. And Yamcha... So... Yamcha, Keanu Reeves, and the only reason I've said that is because I've seen enough Bill and Ted to know that he can do Yamcha's voice. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of... Because let's be honest, Yamcha is probably the most stereotypical American character in the American dub.
Well, I had Ryan Reynolds for Yamcha.
Do you know what? So did I until about half an hour before we started. That's hilarious. I had Ryan Reynolds and then I scribbled it out and then put Keanu. And the other person I put in there, and I'll admit this because I wasn't going to say it, was Kit Harington because I was looking at long-haired actors. Yes. But then I thought he's too morbid. It's like, oh, we've got to fight these Cybermen for North City. It's like, I can't... Nah, I had to bin him off straight away as soon as I had the... Fair. So, next one. And if you disagree with this, I'll be so surprised. Yajirobe, Jack Black.
Already written in.
I even found him with a sword. So straight away I was like, we've got to do it. But equally, based on what we were saying earlier, I think if you were going to go for maybe try and look for some more Asian actors to bring in, I think Benedict Wong could actually do quite a good job as well. Yeah,
I do.
But
what would you save him for? Like, he'd do no. Maybe I'm just thinking that because he was an assistant in Doctor Strange. I was thinking Mr. Popo. Because obviously you're not going to go down the full. You ain't going comic book accurate with Mr. Popo because that is just an accident waiting to happen. So
no, I actually think that he needs to not be in it because if you can't do him to the point where. For a start, it's just...
but then people will get angry if he's not in it. It's like the new Mulan. They didn't put Mushu in it.
Yeah, true. That was weird.
About it. Yeah,
that was weird.
That's what you got. I think you got to have it in it because he's an iconic character, and also, fuck is insanely strong, and no one knows how strong. Like, I was watching the Boo Saga. You know, when where they get Goten and Trunks up there, both go Super Saiyan and start trying to beat fuck out of him, and he's just palming him off.
Yeah,
how strong is he?
True, but do you know what? Benedict Wong is a shout for Mr. Popo. Then I'll go with that. I think that's a really good shout. Actually,
have you got Corin?
No,
voice actor. Not just because he's short cat. Peter Dinklage.
Ooh, I like that. I was going to say, what's his name now? It's really going to annoy me. Michael Rooker. I was going to say because of the gravelly voice. Do you know what?
I thought about Dinklage for Roshi as well, but I was like, maybe a bit of a stretch.
I've got a good Roshi, I think. I've got a good Roshi.
Sam, let's move on then. Who's next?
King Kai, Danny DeVito.
Yes, perfect. 100%. Perfect.
Do you know what, though? Benedict Wong could make a good King Kai as well.
Nah, I think you got to have Danny DeVito because you got to have a bit of sad sack about you.
It's the comedy element, isn't it? I was thinking.
Yeah, and he's good at, he's done that role before. Hercules, good at it.
Very true. And the other thing is as well, I think with King Kai, if you listen to his accent in the English dub, he has got kind of like almost like that
twang.
New Yorky kind of, do you know what I mean? And I quite like that. So Danny DeVito's easy.
Lovely.
Next one, Ben Kingsley from Master Roshi.
Yes. The only thing I've got, you just got to make sure he looks old.
Yep.
He never takes his glasses off.
Yep.
And he's a pervert. They're the only three things you've got to make sure.
And I think if you look at Ben Kingsley's Mandarin, I think you've almost got it, but not like when he was being serious, when he got found out.
Yeah.
And,
I agree. Yeah. 100%.
And he's kind of walking around with, a bottle of Jack Daniels, and there's like 3 girls in his bedroom. I was like, this is very Roshi-esque.
It is, yes. Agreed.
But equally, I think who would do a very good job, and it's a bit of a personal box tick for me because I love him and I grew up on him. I'd quite like to see JCVD do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I prefer Kingsley, but...
Yeah, but you wouldn't need CGI for the kick. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, that's true.
It's Ben Kingsley's still really old, whereas JCVD, you could make him look really old, super easy. I mean, he's got the bags under his eyes from about 30 years worth of cocaine abuse, but you've got the element of him being still able to kind of, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Fair.
So I think, I don't know which one you'd pick there, but I think both of them have got their...
Oh, the options are there, yeah, 100%.
So based on what we said earlier, Frieza's got to be motion cap. So obviously, Frieza and Boo are both played by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, happy.
It can be voiced by anyone. I think Frieza still has to be voiced by a woman, potentially.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you need it to be voiced. But then...
Because she's...
You want to catch them. I reckon just you'd stick Andy Serkis just with Boo, maybe. Because he's good at... You can see you can just go with that. But I think Frieza... Because it is going to be mocap. You can just... I mean, no one knows what gender Frieza is anyway. Well, I mean, they refer to him as he, but I don't...
It's kind of an asexual species, potentially. Because even King Cold was a little bit like, I can't really tell, just in the mannerisms and stuff. So I think it's probably...
Frieza's RuPaul.
Hmm?
I'm joking.
No, let's go.
I don't know who you'd have.
It's a tough one. I think...
Oh, who is bird that plays Bart Simpson?
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
I don't actually know her name.
I don't. But I saw. I was watching a YouTube thing on the other day. She started doing like a masterclass of voice acting, like masterclass adverts that come up. And I watched an interview with her, and like her range of voices is she teeters that edge of being able to play like a young boy or a female or a feminine character.
Yeah,
I think she'd be perfect for it. I think she'd be able to get there.
Are we overthinking this? Couldn't we just use the person
Possibly.
that does the Freezer voice in the American dub of the actual show?
Yeah, because it's mocap. We 100% could.
So we'll just do that.
Let's do that. Easier.
You're already on retainer, probably, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. Ooh, right. There's no way you disagree with this. There's no way.
We'll see. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't.
Broly, Jason Momoa, done. Could you imagine anyone better to play Broly? Because I can't.
Perfect. I think you would have to not CGI him, but you'd have to capture it so he just looks fucking giant. Do you think he's probably around the same? Well, I mean, he is around the same height as Henry Cavill you see in Justice League, but you'd have to go almost like the way they filmed The Hobbit with Gandalf and the dwarves, where every scene you've got to make him look fucking gigantic in comparison to the surroundings. I suppose you can do that with green screens around him.
I mean,
or you go down the Thanos route, where you've got him doing the acting in his general shape, but you just morph him.
Yeah,
you mocap him as well.
Easy, because in his normal state, he could just be Jason Momoa, and the best part of this is, I think if you look at the picture I've used there from, I believe it was Conan. His hair, he looks like Broly already there. Like, you wouldn't have to do a fat lot with his hair, and it'd just have to go up and go a little bit more crazy when he transforms. And if you look at how they make the Hulk look like Mark Ruffalo still, done.
You could easily do it. Yeah.
Piece of piss, but Broly's probably, straight away when I started thinking about this, I was like, I'm going to have to get Broly in there because Jason Momoa is him.
Yeah,
100%.
Without a doubt.
Now, next one is actually my last one, but I think it potentially be an interesting one because of his mannerisms, and that's Benedict Cumberbatch for Cell.
I mean, if you're going to do Benedict Cumberbatch for Cell, you're going to have to mocap him, I think.
Yeah,
because you're going to want him to be
tall,
jacked. But he could easily do the arrogance,
100%,
and the swagger that he's got.
Bear in mind, there's 3 stages of Cell as well, so we're going to have to really think more.
Andy Serkis for the first one,
being
a hanging little bastard.
Vin Diesel for the second one.
Yeah, Got to get Vin in.
We got him in.
Got him in. And then Benedict for the last one.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going for that.
So, fucking happy.
That's pretty much it. But there's some that I've got to admit, based on
that
the kind
concludes
of
my TED talk.
I think there's a few on there that I've kind of forgot about though, because there's like, but they're easier to cast.
There's loads. There's Chaozus, there's your Bulmers, your Chi-Chis.
Who else have you got that I haven't covered?
No one. I've literally. I mean, I wrote them down, but I didn't actually cast anyone.
Okay, no, that's fair. I mean, the one that would potentially be quite interested, and actually, I think Kit Harington probably could play, is 17.
That's a good point.
That could work, and then 18 could be, I don't know.
Scarlett Johansson probably work.
No,
go on.
Oh God, Harley Quinn,
Margot Robbie.
That's your 18, mate.
Could you get her deadpan enough though? That's what I'm thinking, because she naturally tries to add a bit of sexual nature to everything, whereas 18 is just like deadpan for everything.
Maybe, but it's just an excuse.
That's the only thing I'm thinking. Whereas if you look at Scarlett Johansson, she is a monotone person at the best of times. I think her voice and her general actions will probably suit it better.
Okay. What about Brie Larson?
Less emotive. Oh yeah, Brie Larson will work as well. In fairness.
Yeah, she's deadpan. She's got no personality. Let's have her.
No, exactly. Just dead inside. Just be shithouse and then laughing.
Yeah, because to be fair, the way she plays Captain Marvel, I'm joking about the no personality thing, by the way.
No,
I don't want to get cancelled on the first episode. But like, I think she plays Captain Marvel fairly deadpan anyway. So
exactly. You could probably that naturally translate over.
Yeah. Do you know the hardest one?
I mean, they're all good enough actors that they'd probably be able to do it. But you want someone that it's less of a leap,
more of a natural fit.
Yeah.
Okay then. 16. The Rock?
Nah.
That's just me trying to get him in.
He's big. Don't get me wrong, but again, 16. You're probably going to mocap him to an extent anyway, because you'd almost like Hulkbuster him. I think. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you'd have like a head in it and then the Hulkbuster armor, like that kind of big.
That's true. I like that. Do you know what? You could probably
again deadpan, but John Cena. John Cena wouldn't work. I don't think he can be emotive enough of what it's got to be a part that's deadpan. But think Gentle Giants.
I'll be honest, with 16, I think you probably could fit. I'm not going to say insert wrestler here, but like it isn't. You have to literally talk like a robot to a certain extent. It's like, I like birds. It's like, I think there's an element where you don't necessarily have to be a particularly good actor. So, do you know what? Is there an excuse here? And you could young him up a little bit. Think about the most famous robot actor in the world. Why don't we potentially get Arnie back just for a bit of a cameo? He's not going to be in it long. You think
he could be quite good as well? You
could young him up. You know, the kind of Austrian accent would probably work quite well with the physicality.
The robotic,
yeah. I think that could work.
The only risk you run then is does he have the arrogance that he'll want to not be CGI'd, and then he doesn't look big enough, and then it sort of ruins the illusion, because the whole point of it is he towers over 17, 18, and he is jacked. Yeah.
True. But then, worst case, if he turns it down, we'll offer it to Stallone.
Yeah.
Get in the
and then he'll do the same, so then we'll bin off Stallone as well.
Yeah, and we'll end up with some random guy who's
John Cena. We'll end up with John Cena or The Rock.
Yeah, do you know what? I think, like I say, I don't think you have to get a particularly good actor to play 16.
I don't think you get away with The Rock just because he's never had hair in anything.
That's true.
To then put a big ginger mohawk on him would just be fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. Just a quick one as well. I've just thought of a better use of Benedict Wong.
Go on.
19. How perfect.
Yeah.
How perfect is that, though?
That is good, to be fair.
It's literally very good. He looks like him. Like, I can't beat that. I don't know about
Who would you cast as 20?
Oh, mate, that is a tough one because you've got to look for what about
An old fucker.
what about Gary Oldman?
Could do Gary Oldman, to be fair.
I've got to say this is one expensive project.
Actually, no, I think Gary Oldman would be good.
Yeah, I just think about
as long as he's got his lid long enough.
Well, again, makeup, we can do that, can't we?
Yeah.
If you think about how he acted in Leon,
Yeah.
just like that kind of frantic, like he could do that with bells on, no problem.
Easy.
No problem.
So, it's a good cast, that,
mate. I think
we're on. Sign us up.
I'm quite happy with what I've got, and I still think the best one is Mahershala Ali. For me, he's the best one.
I agree completely. Better than Jason Statham.
Although there's probably a way we can get Jason Statham in there. Hercule, there you go. There you go, Mr. Satan.
I think Jason Statham's. I think he's too serious. No, in fact, I think about John Cena for Hercule. That's what you want. You want a random wrestler being a hanger. Have you put that down?
Yeah. Yeah. I put it on there and forgot to mention it. Yeah, Hercule, just John Cena.
Jackson stupid. Yeah.
Yeah,
that works.
You could do Benedict Wong for First Stage of Boo as well. I'm basically fitting him into all fat characters. He's had Mr. Popo.
Poor bastard.
19. Oh, well. To be fair, we've got a good cast there, I think. So, in summary, we don't think a movie necessarily works unless it's like...
I think a Disney Plus / Netflix series akin to The Witcher.
Yeah, and that has got to have a kind of middle ground on the special effects. So we're looking at nods to, the kind of hair. It's got to have kind of more of a suggested inflection to those kind of things rather than trying to replicate it. And then...
And a notable difference, when they go super set, it's got to be a notable difference. If hair's down, it's got to go up. Do you know what I mean? You can't
100%.
Dye their hair yellow.
No, 100%. And that's what I was thinking, like with Jason Momoa, for example, when that, you can have that big tied back lot. And I was thinking that with Zach McGowan as well. Like, he's got long hair. It wouldn't necessarily have to be up until he kind of transformed or powered up. So, I think that kind of ticks that box. You're never going to get it right by trying to kind of, have everyone's hair all the way up. And then the casting wise, I think we're pretty much there. I mean, we've agreed on the majority of them.
So, nailed it. Fucking hell. Sign us up, Disney.
There you go. Disney, we are here.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, exactly. Eve's available between games. I'm available pretty much permanently at the moment because I'm furloughed. So
hey, pay me enough money, I'll be available all the time.
Very true, very true. And for anyone not actually watching, because I'm going to put this on YouTube as well, because why not?
Smart.
So I'm rating that Gold Freezers Gym t-shirt.
I have my Kame House t-shirt, but it's in the wash, so I had to go down this. And I'm enjoying your Beerus. Yeah,
exactly the same. I bought them both at the same time, and I forgot I had this. So this is the first time. Do you know what? You should feel very very privileged because I had to iron this morning.
My guy, I never iron anything. I'll be honest with you. I use this top in the gym a lot.
Oh, what a boy! See, I rate that. I rate that at work as well.
Yeah, well, on days off when I'm not in uniform.
Yeah, love that. Love
that.
Yeah. Love that. So that's kind of episode 1 in the bag. So
laughing.
Make a series, guys. Like anyone with money listening, get it done. Although I did during my research find out there is something potentially in the works for some kind of film again. But
no, there is for another super film. I know that because that's why they haven't brought anything out series wise. They're going to do another film.
Well,
I think Broly did unbelievably well in comparison to expectations at the box office that they're planning on doing another one. Whether they're going to go straight into the Moro saga,
I hope so. I'd like to see that.
Which they might do. They might make a film out of that, or they might just go down something completely different. But because if you read the mangas now, they're moving on to something again.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Moro saga's finished, so who knows? But
it's good that the mangas sort of moved ahead of the series again, though. I appreciate
it. Just means they've got something to work to, which is why I think they might do something different.
Yeah.
So the Super's now got a path to follow again.
Yeah, that's fair. But
and you get less filler episodes.
Yeah, I don't mind the odd filler. Like we've discussed this before. The driving.
That's one of the best episodes of all time. But then you look at in Super, you look at the baseball episode. It's half an hour of shit.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Equally, I can't rate highly enough the fact that they put the driving lesson into Kakarot.
How good. The game's fucking brilliant.
When that popped up, I was like, no fucking way.
It's so good. It's so good.
It is. I've spent far too long just flying around, just enjoying the world. I'm just like, right, you've got to go out there and fight Vegeta. Not quite yet. I'm going to go.
Yeah, mate, I do the same now. I've finished the whole fucking thing and I continue to do so.
I've just got to the point where I can edit my party now. So I can pick who's rolling around with me. And I'm just like, yesterday I had Team Gohan Super Saiyan 2 with Tien and Yamcha. I was like, I am dragging your asses across this world. Like, it's just, you need to pull your weight. But no, the thing is, I think there's episodes in this just in talking about like undervalued characters, like the amount that Piccolo is wasted, the amount that Gohan's wasted. Like, we can do full episodes on unfulfilled potential. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
so
there's loads of it knocking about.
100%. So we're going to obviously start watching the series again. I've recently bought the 30th anniversary Blu-rays. I think you're sort of on that tip as well, aren't you?
Yeah. So I've got a little some RPA bonus coming in soon, and that's going to buy me a set of noise cancelling headphones because I've got a little in on the way, and it's going to buy me the box set of Dragon Ball Z.
Amazing, mate. By the way, I didn't know about that, so congratulations.
Oh, did I not tell you? Oh,
no, you didn't tell me. Mate, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Having a child.
Yeah. Little Gohan, can't wait to meet him.
Oh, no, it's a girl, mate.
Chi-Chi.
Little Chi-Chi coming in.
Mate, that's awesome. Well chuffed for you.
Thanks, man.
So, I mean, the next one, we're not sure when we'll do it, but we'll get to it eventually. And then we'll start talking
probably when all my series arrive and we can just nose through the Saiyan Saga.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should probably do, because I know we were talking about doing episodes per, like, every few episodes. Let's just do one about the whole saga.
Yeah.
Let's crack it on, and then we can just...
And the bigger ones, we can do, like, a couple of episodes or something. I don't know. We'll see how we go. If there's a particular subject we stick on long enough, we might have to make them 2 parts. Yeah,
with how long the fight between Goku and Frieza is for 5 minutes, that's probably 3 episodes. Just going, what did they do? Well, they moved left a bit.
Fucking hell, they moved well.
They talked. But yeah, thanks for jumping on. Hopefully we can make this a regular thing. Thanks anyone that's listened or watching. And catch you on the next one.
Praise be to Kami.